Welcome back. We are in Kolkata and we are inside Kolkata, and we are discussing the success of the hosiery brands, hosiery businesses in Kolkata, and now we want to try and figure out where they can go. If they've built a strong distribution network across the country, built reasonably strong brands, what is the next step for these companies? So what is the next step, Agarwalji?
As
Where do you go from here?
Sandeepji told, for any success of the brand, we have to focus on this distribution channel as well as marketing strategy and advertisement. Nowadays, rural area is also important. So we have focus also in rural areas. So we have to choose the different medias. First is the distribution. Your distribution must be very strong. Second is this your marketing strategy, and third is your advertisement. Advertisement, we have to focus on rural as well as urban. So we choose these TV channels, papers, hoardings and boards, all these. We have to focus on all the areas because every area has got its importance. 60% of the people live in the villages. So that is the most important area. That is now emerging area. Because the purchasing power in the rural areas is increasing day by day. The government has so many schemes, so they are getting the money. So if the success of any company or any product depends on your distribution on the urban as well as rural. It is most important.
Tell me, in your company, I want to ask all of you the same question. Who is the final decision maker on the media plan? Do you sign it off, or is it somebody reporting to you? There's a question I want to ask. Start with you, sir.
In my company, I look after them. I have a team and I consult all the directors. Then we decide.
But finally, you sign off on it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. What about you?
Same here.
What about you?
See, Anand, we all are into the building up stage.
Right.
So it's like we are nurturing the people under us.
I like the fact
so that
all of you are
probably a day will come that we don't need to sign.
This is the point. No? This is the point. For companies with ad spend of your size, it is unusual for owner or MD or CEO to get involved in something as small as
not a single person decision. It is a joint effort.
We're very hands-on.
Joint decision.
The whole industry, top management is very hands-on today.
Right.
Malab, we really know even our each and every customer or dealer or distributor pretty well. So we are very much engaged and involved in every part of the business.
Now, Anand, now coming back to the thing that you asked first,
Right.
during this conversation, whether it's there in the water of this place that so many brands are coming up
Right.
in this industry. I tell you the key of it. We all work on human relationships, be it with our dealers, distributors, be it with our production ecosystem, be it with our media or anything. The personal relationships is very much a part of the business process. And I think that is playing a very critical role in the total development of this landscape.
Right. Now, I'll stay with you. One of the advantages of building a big brand is you can start franchising the brand. You can go left or right. For example, let's say you could come out with Macho Jeans or, Macho Tea or whatever it is, Macho Cola. So that is something now, all of you are established brands. Let's face it. Like you said, everybody knows your brands. If you go to rural India, go to semi-urban India, it may not be in Shoppers Stop, but to your consumer, these are all strong brands. So why aren't you looking at franchising a brand further? Is it something that any of you is thinking about? TT has done it, of course.
We already have done
that. It came from elsewhere.
Yeah.
TT was established when you came to TT Hosiery.
No. TT was established very much by us.
Right.
And we have been exploring franchisee not now as long as 15-20 years back when franchisee itself was a concept. However, I must say we were successful for an interim period. But due to your franchisee not taking the same sort of effort and interest and rather being more interested in making...
I was talking about franchising the brand to get into other categories.
Yeah. So that also we've been looking
to add other products. You mean other
product?
Yes. So Anand want to say like any DO products or
whatever,
anything.
absolutely.
Like we did it for stationery.
Right.
We did it for stationery. But we didn't find that sort of interest in Vising in the sense that that particular industry didn't see so much of value. But now what we are doing, we were talking on what is the future ahead for the brand, which we all are doing, is we are going for now product extensions. We are leveraging our brand by going for more products. Geographically, we are already well distributed, but still there's scope. We are also looking at adjoining countries of establishing our brands. Like now most companies from the top hosiery companies who are basically known as a innerwear, a vest brief company, are no more a vest and brief company. We are all into t-shirts, loungers, Bermuda, casual wear, active wear, and those lines are getting stronger and stronger. It's a focus and core area for everyone. Leggings.
Sure. Sandeep, obviously if you can get into the top segment, you will enjoy a higher margin. Suppose you could sell in a Shoppers Stop or inside Palladium or something. Your margins get a huge jump. So why don't you explore that market, or you say you're happy where you are to get a bigger and bigger piece of this market, this segment?
No, Anand, we won't say that we are complacent that what we are having. It had been a journey, say from where we started. Let's say if we had started our market penetration from SEC D or C, now probably we are in SEC B,
right,
or we are bordering at A. But of course, everything goes in a process. So of course, like lot of companies are already there with their brands in the niche segment. Agarwal ji is there in Macroman. Somebody is there with other brands are also there in that premium niche segment.
Right.
So we are exploring that
Right.
over the time.
Right. So Agarwal ji, what is the future 10 years from now of Rupa? Where do you see it as a player in the national level?
At present we are at mass and upper mid premium.
Right.
Like the future is for the premium products.
Right.
Because as the purchasing power is increasing, as I told you, and brand awareness is increasing.
Right.
So that's why the new generation wants to spend for today.
Right.
They don't think for the tomorrow.
Right.
So they are very serious for the premium products. The future is there.
Right. In passing you said, digital there's not enough consumption, but it is the future. And why is digital important in this category? What do you think it will do for you?
Very easy to purchase.
Right, sure.
You don't have designs, you don't have the feel. Once you purchase it
I
once.
will argue that.
Once you purchase it once,
Right.
you know the style, you have a feel.
Right.
Then you can do repeat purchases. In fact, now they have models where every quarterly you get a bundle, shipped up to you as per your quarterly requirement or monthly requirement.
Right.
So I think so. It's got a great future.
You're talking e-commerce or you're talking
E-commerce.
E-commerce.
Yeah.
Okay.
And digital, of course,
Marketing.
because it's very obvious with the internet, even the youngsters, even in rural areas, we know how mobile is growing. So everyone has access.
Right.
Whether they're buying online or not, they definitely are looking online. So obviously, where the eyeballs are, we have to follow them.
So Sandeep ji, are you happy with what is happening on e-commerce? What is your offtake on e-commerce for your product?
So if you see at the total retail industry, e-commerce still at a very nascent stage.
Right.
It's not even, I would say, 2% of the total market pie.
Right.
So of course it has to grow. It has to become important in our scheme of things.
Right.
As of now, we are seeing it as another niche category.
Right.
But let's say from 5 years from now, this will be important to us. But when we are talking digital, we are just not talking about e-commerce. We are also talking about our brand presence on digital.
Right.
Because when we are talking about youth, we always have a mindset of youth of Mumbai or youth of Delhi or Bangalore.
Right.
But there is a youth even in Sagar, there is a youth even in Jabalpur, there is a youth in Patna. Now they are also assessing your digital network.
Right.
So we have to target that audience as well.
Right.
You cannot think India only in terms of India. There is a Bharat also existing over there.
Right. Anyway, I'll stay with you and I'm going to ask each of you the same question. Typically, tell me about your involvement in the advertising and media of your company. I'm going to ask the same question to the three of you. Start with you.
See, for me, the brand is a passion. If I have to give myself a designation other than the official designation, I will put it as brand architect.
Right.
Because here you are creating an imagery. At the end of it, what sells to a consumer is something more than what a product offers. It is the imagery that a consumer is buying.
Right.
So branding is very important for any FMCG or consumer goods industry. So be it branding, be it media, I think we are still at a stage where I can drive the whole process of it.
Right. So typically, what is your day? How much time of your day do you spend on advertising or media? On an average day?
Probably an hour to half an hour.
Right. What about you, Agarwalji? How much time do you spend? And
More than 1 hour.
more than 1 hour. How much of that is spent on media and how much is spent on ideas?
Both are mixed.
If I
The biggest problem is that this consumer's perception and the retailer's perception is they are too high. They want the presence everywhere. We are not multinational companies. We are limited budget. So it is very difficult to manage the budget.
He said you're all trying to become multinational companies.
No, we are not multinational. We are maximum 1,000 crores. This sales. What will the 8%, 7% is the budget? Where the multinational companies have a huge budget.
Right.
So it is very difficult to at par with them. But except this perception, expectation of the consumer, wholesalers, and network is too high. It is very difficult to manage the budget.
Right. What about you? How much typically how much time you spend on?
I won't divide it in a day, but when it comes in big blocks.
Right.
3 hours, 4 hours, you have marathon sessions, because everything has to be looked parallelly. You can't look, adjacently and everything. And secondly, I think so we are always very observant as we move around, looking for opportunities.
Right.
Just to give an example, if I'm visiting and I see on Howrah station there's a good location and it's empty, I make a mental note and I'll immediately tell my person, contact the person.
Right.
And media planning, typically we always have a plan. So it's not that you transform it every time you decide. Quarterly we typically decide.
Right.
And of course we have a lot of offers coming in at the time. And we are very open to opportunities.
Right.
Some people have a very fixed image. I personally am very, very open to opportunities coming, because I feel an eyeball on this Sunday or that Sunday doesn't make a big difference.
Right.
So we look for, and people know, my ad agency knows, he will even message me on a Saturday evening at 7 o'clock and say, this is available, can I run it tomorrow morning?
Right.
And I'll say, go ahead.
Perfect.
So that's how I think so it's the momentum and it runs across.
Thank you so much for a fantastic discussion. We are still inside Kolkata, and we were discussing an absolutely fascinating journey that the hosiery brands have gone through in Kolkata. And what we understand is they are spending more time on brands, more time on understanding media, more time on understanding consumers than certainly I had an idea of before I came here. That's all we have for this week on Storyboard. Catch us same time next week. Until then, you can catch us on Facebook, on Twitter, all other social media. Thank you so much.